Thanks everybody for coming this evening. Thanks for being patient, because we're getting started a little late. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't start. We're gonna wait a little bit longer, thanks. Hi, the gang's all here, thank you. Okay, now thank you everybody for waiting even longer. Sorry about that. We do have a quorum this evening. I ask that everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I get an approval of the minutes as listed?
I make a motion to approve minutes for November 21st, November 28th, December 4th, December 9th, and December 22nd.
Second. Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, any correspondence?
Yes. A thank you card for the board's kind expression of sympathy was received from Carla Gorski, and email correspondence was received from Mrs. Benicalabelli, Mrs. DiMartino, and Mrs. Bowman.
Thank you. Okay, we have 3 visitors that would like to come up and speak before our first comment period. I welcome Rosella Pecora to the microphone. You have 3 minutes regarding special education and ICT class setting.
Hello, my name is Rosella Pecora. My son is in ICT kindergarten class at Willow Road. I'd like to speak about my son's class specifically. He has stated to me multiple times that his class is being interrupted because of students' outbursts. It seems to be occurring in specials like music and art class, but also in the main classroom. He also stated to me that the aides have had to take over a class lesson because a teacher had to address the child's behavior. I myself have personally witnessed child behavior outburst when I was attending a class event. I was unable to exit the classroom because the door had to be blocked from child running out. My son does not have an IEP. He is in the gen ed side, but he is in an ICT classroom, which can be a great experience for all students, but that is not what is happening. My child's education, along with every other student in that class, is being negatively affected. This is in no way an attack on anyone or on any special education. If anything, it's me showing concern. I worked as a paraprofessional in an ICT classroom in a city school setting for many years, so I have a soft spot for special needs children, and I want to be the voice for them. So now I've heard of Mrs. Dunn's promotion, but I'm a bit concerned because she stood before us at November's meeting and stated there was no educational interruptions, which is a complete lie. Now, were we bluntly lied to in our faces, or of what is actually happening? Or is she incompetent or unaware of what actually happens in an ICT classroom with children with specific behavior issues? Their needs are clearly not being met. Now this is concerning because with this promotion, I'm sure it comes with a lot more responsibilities. What exactly does this promotion mean when the basics of her current position aren't being met? Thank you.
May I ask the person a question?
Of course you
The two incidents that you referenced in the beginning, and one that you witnessed, did they both occur less than 60 days ago?
Yes. My son comes home multiple times during the week of this happening in multiple classes. He says that he calls them the helpers, the teacher's aides, have to take over the classroom to actually teach the lesson. So how is this not interrupting education?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pecora. I'd like to invite Janet Menudo to the microphone to discuss changes in administrative positions. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I have asked this request in the past with no success, so I am kindly asking the board again to consider posting the meeting agenda to the public more than 24 hours before the meeting. It is impossible to read through all the agenda items and documents in order to respond with an intelligent statement in response to such. I was told that it was posted that close to the meeting because there are oftentimes revisions. I have no problem dealing with revisions. I would like to remind the board and the community that according to District 13's 3230E policy, the community is at the top of the hierarchy. Below that is the Board of Education, and below that is the superintendent, and so forth. In other words, you are obligated, according to your own policy, to listen to your community members. Therefore, if there is an issue that is being expressed at a board meeting, which I am about to do, you are obligated to listen, but more importantly, to not immediately dismiss it. There are 2 items on the agenda regarding changes in administrative positions, which I do understand are not legally required to be posted. The first is changing the current Executive Director of Special Services to Assistant Superintendent. Being an active resident of this district, I have heard many instances of parents and teachers expressing dissatisfaction with the way decisions have been and are being made, and lack of responses to certain concerns or requests to the special ed office. Therefore, have there been any assessments or evaluations done that validate and support the advancement in title and salary to this position? Is this truly the best decision for our special ed program? Secondly, the agenda specifies that there will no longer be a separate superintendent of curriculum and instruction. A new position is being created, namely Director of Curriculum Instruction and Technology. Although this consolidation saves money, I cannot believe that this was something given serious thought. A curriculum coordinator, in my opinion, is extremely important to children's academic success. This is the person who must have the knowledge of not what the latest trends in education are, but knowledge of best practices. In other words, what materials and programs are out there in every subject area that actually have proven results. This person should be one who has many years of proven success in evaluating programs in order to give our children the best education possible. I would like a vote of confidence that the board has recognized this fact and will act accordingly. Lumping this job, may I continue? I have 2 sentences.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Menudo.
Is there any board member that would allow me to finish?
Two out of 7. Everyone knows it's a 3-minute. I'm sorry, Ms. Menudo, I have to stick to the rules. I'd like to welcome Rosemary Daly regarding hiring.
Good evening, everyone.
My name is Rosemary Daly, and I'm a parent of 2 students at Willow Road. I can say nothing but wonderful and adoring things about the teachers and principal my children have been blessed to have. I get emotional over it because they are just truly amazing. I know that they're truly qualified and we're the cream of the crop due to the rigorous interview processes that each of them face to get their teaching positions. With that said, I cannot say the same about our district level positions in Valley Stream 13. In the last 2 years, there have been times, including 2 positions up for vote today, where there was absolutely no interviewing processes. How can you say with confidence that you're hiring appropriately at the district level when there are no interview committees and the integral voices of parents and teachers are not a part of the hiring process of this high-level and high-paying positions? The Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction mysteriously resigns the Friday of Christmas vacation. Side note, it took me about 2 minutes to look up online why. Anyway, after that resignation, we are informed that we would be updated as the process of hiring of a new superintendent, not director of curriculum and instruction. I kept my eyes and ears wide open, patiently waiting for an update. So I'm extremely concerned when the minutes for tonight came out and the board is ready to approve what seems to be a very suspicious manipulating of job titles and shuffling of positions without a single step of appropriate interviewing. It seems that the children are not the priority with the moves the district is proposing to take. I can confidently say that parents sitting in here right now, as well as some teachers, are not okay with the recommendations being brought to the board tonight, especially when there has been no interview process and positions are being switched around. I urge the board not to settle for what is being brought to you tonight for the sake of the children of Valley Stream 13. I'm urging the board to make the district follow the proper interviewing processes before recommending anyone for such high-level positions that affect our children's curriculum and instruction and our students with special needs. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the report of the superintendent, Dr. LaRocca.
Thank you, President Oliveri. Tonight for the superintendent's report, we have a presentation from our Director of Facilities, Sean Reed, and the Assistant Superintendent for Business and Human Resources, Mr. Antoine.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank you all for coming to our Board of Education meeting tonight. My name is Gerard Antoine, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Business and Human Resources, and I would like to introduce Sean Reed. He is our Director of Facilities. Sean started in September of 2023. And ever since Sean started, he's been doing wonderful things in the district. He put together this report, so he's going to go over the facilities report that will highlight some of the things that he's done since he's been here. One thing that Sean talked to me about, Mr. Reed talked to me about when he first started was he wanted to make sure that our buildings were clean. He wanted to introduce his new cleaning protocol. So with that being said, Sean will go over his report and start with our cleaning guidelines.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. In all buildings, when I first started here, we didn't follow a cleaning schedule. Together with the lead custodians, Mr. Antoine, and superintendent, we came across with new cleaning guidelines that we're going to settle for daily, monthly, and weekly cleaning schedule that all cleaners will follow. With that said, we've also implemented new cleaning materials. All these products are going to be introduced in all custodial closets. So every classroom, every staff area, every public space is going to be cleaned and properly sanitized from now on. Some of the work that we've been doing across the district, James A. Beaver, we finished up the boardroom and the music room. Interactive play areas were added this summer. The driveway fencing was also completed. New school sign, ACs in all the buildings and the cafeterias, tree pruning, and we're finishing up the gas regulator to help with more efficient gas usage for the heating season. This is the orchestra room that was recently just completed. New roof, ceilings, lights, flooring, paint. The Wheeler Avenue School, we had the new sign put in, sidewalks, tree work, and we finished up the floor tile and the abatement throughout the building. Also, the playground was just repaired. See some of the kids playing on it. This was the tree work that was taken off on the Corona Avenue side. The sidewalk hasn't been repaired yet due to weather, but hopefully by the spring we'll have this done, and it's coming hopefully before that. Same thing with the sinkhole that's in the baseball field. At the Willow School, ACs again. We did a new swing set over the summer. Sidewalks are done, lobby improvements. We also hired a new cleaner to day shift to help with the cleaning schedule that we have implemented. The key system has been updated, so we have new submasters for every room, so every teacher has a separate key for every room. Sinkhole was fixed, and we're replacing the closet doors in room 42 in the coming weeks. Howell Road, we completed the flooring throughout the building, AC in the cafeteria, fence work, school sign, sidewalk and curbs were also replaced. Again, the key system was all updated, and then we have a new closet that's being built or was completed in the kindergarten wing, which will be on the next slide. And so we have the wall filled in and the closet installed. Some of the upcoming projects, we're going to have the band room renovated at the Wheeler Avenue School starting spring break. Kindergarten Play Center is going to be added at the Wheeler School, and we ordered new cafeteria tables for Howell and Willow. Some of the equipment requests that I'm hoping that we can get pushed forward at some point: new maintenance van, new tractor, ride-on lawnmower, and I would like to implement some walk-behind scrubbers for each building. That's it. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, thank you very much.
So, back in October 3, this past fall, I wrote to the superintendent regarding a sidewalk at Wheeler. The plank of concrete was raised by 4 inches because of a tree root. Typically, when a resident has a problem with their sidewalk, they call a contractor, they come, they break the concrete up, they cut the root, and pour concrete and repair it. How is it that, if I got it wrong, I think you said we're going to have that sidewalk repaired in spring. Now, the village did remove the tree, and that was a very difficult project, so hats off to the Village of Valley Stream and the highway people who actually removed that tree. But how come back in October, when I brought it to the attention of the administration, why wasn't it done like within days? It was a 4-inch tripping hazard, and right now, it still remains as a tripping hazard. It should have been broken up, the root should have been cut, and concrete poured.
Since I'm on the facility committee, I can. So, Mr. Benelli, as you were updated, the tree had to be taken down by the village. Cutting a root on the tree may, lose the stability of the tree, and we don't need the tree falling down. It's not our tree to cut at the roots, it's the village tree. The danger was somewhat repaired, so there wasn't a tripping hazard anymore. And it doesn't say spring, it says weather permit. So as soon as the freezing cold, comes to a little bit of a halt, I'm certain that, because as far as I know, the sidewalk was supposed to be done on the 15th. However, we got this freeze coming in. So I'm assuming as soon as it breaks, they'll be here to repair that sidewalk.
Mr. Reed, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you not say you expect the correction in the spring?
It says right there, sidewalk
No,
repair.
I'm asking what did he say? I thought you said
He
sometime in
didn't
the
say
spring.
that.
So, weather permitting.
In any event, I'm asking the superintendent, assistant superintendent Antoine, how is it that $62 million budget, we can't get that tree root, incidentally, the tree root extends under the sidewalk. The homeowner does not have to get permission to get that root cut. That root could have been cut right then and there, and the sidewalk repaired.
Trustee Cavallari just explained that.
I'm sorry?
Trustee Cavallari just explained that to you.
Yeah, well, it happens to be an error. I actually spoke to the village, and they specifically said that the way that sidewalk is right now, which was simply a pour of concrete, now we have a 4-inch slant, they still say that is actually a tripping hazard. And it certainly is. I invite the public to go to Corona Avenue behind Wheeler, and you'll see it's a huge tripping hazard. It's a 4-inch elevated part of the sidewalk.
I have a
one other
question. I have a question.
I have one
I
other
have a
question.
question
I'm sorry?
about this. I have a question. Aren't there temperature requirements for pouring concrete? Why pour a slab and then have it crack and you have to pour it again because we poured it when it was too cold?
But
This
why
doesn't
you-
make any sense to me.
But I brought it to the board and the superintendent's attention on October 3rd. The temperatures were in the 50s and 60s.
The tree wasn't
Now
cut
we're
yet,
in
though. The
late
tree has to
January.
come out first, right?
I'm sorry?
Isn't that the proper way to do it, is to take the tree down first and then fix the sidewalk, not vice versa?
I'm pretty sure the residents can confirm that people have the sidewalks repaired without having the tree taken down. They cut the root, they pour the cement. and
That
that's
is
it.
actually not the proper procedure. The village comes, they take down the tree, you're allowed to then do the sidewalk, and then the village comes back, at your request, place another tree. We can move forward, this is to
In any
be
event, I
determined
have a second question for
as a weather
Antoine.
committee.
And
We all know Mr. Benelli brought it to our attention. Thank you, Mr.
I have another question regarding the presentation
Okay.
to the superintendent and Mr. Reed. You mentioned that you want to replace cafeterias at Howell and Willow, I believe? Specifically, what's wrong? I'm sorry?
Tables.
We're not replacing cafeterias.
Did you not, no,
Tables.
tables.
Cafeteria
Specific-
tables.
Right, specifically, what's wrong with the tables that we have right now?
Cafeteria at Wheeler is brand new, has brand new cafeteria tables. The cafeteria tables at Deaver were replaced. And so the administrative team decided that we would like to have Howell and Willow have an improvement in their cafeteria. And so we are ordering new cafeteria tables.
No, my specific question was wrong, specifically what's wrong with the tables that we have right now at Willow and Howell?
They are reaching their end of life.
The cafeteria tables are reaching their end of life. What's the typical life of the table, cafeteria table?
8 years.
We can get back to you.
We'll
I don't
ask
know
the
that.
architect and
Okay,
get
thank you, I
back to
appreciate it.
We'll get back to you.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
Question.
Yes, trustee
You
Bissonnette.
said that the other two schools had their tables replaced?
Yes, the intention was that everybody in all 4 buildings would have new cafeteria tables, since we did such a tremendous renovation at Wheeler, and since we did the capital outlay project on the cafeteria at Deaver, that we painted the Willow cafeteria this summer, also the lobby with the school colors,
So let me ask you a question.
and we are getting
Were the
new tables with
tables-
new colors to match the building that the principals picked out.
So, question.
So every
With the-
student in the district gets to have new cafeteria.
Question. Ready for my question?
Yes.
Okay. So, my question is, when you replace the tables for the other two schools, did those questions ever come up as to why you're replacing those tables?
No.
Thank you.
Is that the superintendent's report?
And that concludes the superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the Education Committee, Vice President Cavallari.
Item 1, make a motion for a leave of absence. Resolve the Board of Education hereby approves the leave of absence for health for the employee listed on confidential Schedule B pursuant to the terms of the collective bargaining agreement between the district and the Valley Street Teachers Association effective December 20, 2023 through June 30, 2024.
Second. Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2, appointment of Assistant Superintendent for Special Service. Resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves the employment agreement with Dr. Lisa Dunn for the period of January 24, 2024 through June 30, 2025 at the annual salary listed in the motion.
Second. Moved and seconded. On the question. Trustee Grossman.
So within the past 30 days, we had the second highest position that we have here vacated. And a little of my concern is, this is actually for both, the opening was never posted. There's been no resumes, there was no thought exchange, there was no committees with parents and teachers, and how a shift of this magnitude to be done so quickly, I feel voting anywhere towards this means you're denying parents and teachers a right and a voice. Not to mention that 3230E that we just talked about was our whole organizational chart. And that was done in October, where it states we're shifting and changing that complete policy just very quickly with, to me, no deliberation on it or input from the community, and that's who we're here for. So I think this is a topic that we should really be discussing further.
Trustee Capozio.
So I have a question for Chris. Do we have any policy in place that sets guidelines for hiring administrators?
Can I check and make sure I get back that overall fan? I don't believe you.
Trustee Benelli.
Yeah, I think, as one of our visitors came, and I've had reservations as well, I think we need to cast a bigger net on candidates for such a high-level position.
Okay, back to the motion, if there's no other questions. All those in favor?
No.
Aye. Okay, I will pull the board. Trustee Vicente?
Yes.
Trustee Farrell?
Yes.
Trustee Grosso?
No.
Trustee Benelli?
No, and I like that statement read.
Please.
As appointed by this board to sit on the Education Committee, as well as being elected by the parents and residents of School District 13, I cannot support the promotion of Dr. Dunn to Superintendent for Special Services for the following reasons. In my opinion, she lacks the necessary experience. Number two, no justification for elevating this position to an assistant superintendent level while diminishing the title for curriculum, which in prior years was held as assistant superintendent for curriculum. And finally, the administration never considered outside talent for this position. What's the rush? Thank you.
Trustee Capozio?
No.
Would you like to make a statement?
Yes. I agree with part of what Mr. Benelli was saying. I believe we should have expanded. I think we should have a policy actually that requires us to follow certain guidelines and not only look in-house for talent and expand to the outside world and pick whoever is the best candidate for the students.
Thank you.
Okay.
Vice President Cavallari?
I'm going to make a motion to table.
Okay. On the floor. Would you like
Can you make a position? Can we do that?
A motion to table is an intervening motion. So as long as the motion has not been decided, the board has to decide on the motion to table.
Did you want to explain
Yeah.
anything?
No, I'm making a motion
You
to
just want to
table.
make a motion table?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure whatever you wanted to say was said. On the floor is a motion to table item number... Sorry. Item number 2 on the agenda under Section D of the Ed Committee. That's a poll, correct? Or do I?
It's a vote.
Oh, okay. So that has been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. On the question. No questions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No. Well, I guess it is. Extensions are consents, correct? Well, I'm saying nothing is agreeing, correct?
I didn't hear it, so I just wanted to make sure. If it's not unanimous, we can hold it.
I didn't hear
Yeah, no one
anything
said-
opposed, so is unanimous. Okay. Let's continue. Vice President Cavallari.
Madam President,
Yes.
I make a motion to table number 3.
Okay, on the floor is a motion to table number 3.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I oppose.
Would you like to put a statement on the record?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to put a statement on the record?
Yes, I will. If it's not unanimous, aren't we supposed to poll the board?
Oh, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much. Trustee Vicente. Motion to table item number 3.
Aren't you supposed to go
Yes,
by
I make a
seniority?
motion, yes.
Oh, yeah, you-
Point of order, aren't you supposed to go by seniority?
Is there anything else that I have to go by seniority? Or just have to call everybody?
I actually do think you have to do it by senior.
Who's longer? Then Patty, I'm sorry. Trustee Farrell.
Yes.
Trustee Vicente.
Yes.
But then Vice President and President last, right? Okay. Trustee Vanelli.
Sorry, it's just
Oh, wait, sorry. Trustee Cavallari.
This table, yes.
Trustee Vanelli.
No, and I have a statement. As appointed by the board to sit on the education committee, as well as being elected by the parents and residents of School District 13, I cannot support the motion of Andrea Domingo to Executive Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Technology for
We're
the
not
following
voting on
reasons.
that, we're voting on tabling it.
We're voting on tabling it. We're not voting on
Well-
the appointment.
Okay, so I'd like to amend that statement, but I haven't had it written. So how does that
So
work?
you'll submit it?
Okay, I'll pass. All right.
Okay. Trustee Capozio?
Yes, table.
Okay, and I'm a yes. So that is also unanimous to table number 3. Moving on with the Ed Committee agenda.
I make a motion for Education Committee consent 1 through 6.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Vice President Cavallari. Business Committee, Trustee Farrell.
Good evening. I move item 1, signed leave of absence. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby ratifies the memorandum of agreement between the district and the CSEA, Local 1000 AFSCME AFL-CIO custodial unit regarding a leave of absence and hereby authorizes the board president to execute same.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move item 2, appointment of temporary maintainer, to employ Patrick Canny as a temporary district maintainer at the salary listed in the motion, effective January 24th, 2024, and unless sooner terminated in accordance with the CSE custodial contract in effect at the date of employment.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move item 3, employment agreement, Assistant Superintendent for Business and Human Resources. Resolve the Board of Education hereby approves the employment agreement with Gerard Antoine, Assistant Superintendent for Business and Human Resources for the period of January 16th, 2024 through January 15th, 2025.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
No, I oppose.
I will poll the board. Trustee Farrell?
Yes.
Trustee Vicente?
Yes.
Vice President Cavallari?
Yes.
Trustee Benelli?
No. And I have a statement I'd like to read into the
Okay.
record. I cannot support the approval of the employment of Jordan Swan for Assistant Superintendent of Business for the following reasons. In my opinion, he lacks cash management skills that has cost the district significant money. Number two, at the December 19th board meeting of '23, recorded on the video on the district's website, Mr. Antoine said we don't have any bank accounts not earning interest. He stated that the banks give the district a blended interest rate. Actual bank statements show the district has millions of dollars in bank accounts not earning any interest, which Mr. Antoine denied. For this reason, I can't support.
Thank you. Trustee Capozio?
Yes.
Oh, I did you already. I'm a yes. Motion carries.
Trustee Grosso.
I'm so sorry, Trustee Grosso.
Yes.
Thank you. And I'm a yes. Motion carries.
I move item number 4, budget transfers is listed in the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move item G, consent items 1 through 3.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any comments this month?
And that ends the business committee report.
Thank you, Trustee Farrell. Policy Committee, Trustee Vicente.
Good evening, everyone. Number 1, policy for first reading. See the following documents is policies for 2821, school ceremonies observance, 5225, students personal expression, 5605, student voter registration and pre-registration new, 6710, purchasing authority, 8210.1, use of surveillance cameras on school property, and 9520.6, policy on the rights of employee to express breast milk in the workplace.
Thank you very much. As these are first reading, there is no vote.
Policies for second reading and adoption. We move the following to approve and adopt the following policies. 8140, unsafe school choice. Policy 4772, graduation ceremonies. And policy 4231, programs for students with disabilities under the IDA and New York's Education Law, Article 89.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, and that concludes the policy committee.
Thank you, Trustee Vicente. Facilities Committee, Vice President Cavallari.
There's nothing more to report as the facilities committee had the presentation. Other than next month's meeting will be a joint meeting between facilities, security, and IT.
Thank you. Let's keep going. Committee of the Whole.
I move, Move item 1, social media litigation. Resolve the Board of Education hereby refers the law firms of France Law Group, APLC, and Curcio LLP to commence legal action against the parties identified on confidential Schedule A with respect to the litigation discussed in executive session. Be further resolved, the Board President is authorized to sign the attachment retainer agreement with France Law Group, APLC, and Gracio LLP, and take all steps necessary to effectuate the litigation.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move item K as a consent agenda 1 through 6.
No one.
Second.
Moved and seconded. On the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that's it for Committee of the Whole. Thank you, Vice President Cavallari. Report of the Attorney, Mr. Shishko.
I'll provide the district clerk with the report. regarding a matter in which our office obtained a favorable decision from the State Education Department for a school district that denied a child's transportation request that was untimely and improperly filed. In that case, the petitioner argued that they had a reasonable excuse based on when they established residency, but they did not satisfy the legal requirements for a reasonable excuse for a late transportation request, and the district's decision to deny the request was upheld.
Thank you, Mr. Shishko. High school report.
I'm sorry I didn't prepare one for this evening. I'll catch everybody up next week. Next
The
month.
president of the high school board have any comments?
We're doing well.
Thank you. Any old business?
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to know if it's the will of the board. Maybe I don't need to ask, but just to be careful and whatnot. I would like to know if it would be the will of the board to allow me for the next 2 weeks to actually visit the campus at Deaver and Howell, not to go into the schools, but to specifically do a head count of the children entering and exiting the school buses in the morning and in the afternoon, so I can have a better, accurate number of the actual student ridership. And as the board knows, for the past few months, I've been working on alternatives or approach to save transportation costs, and we all know it's costing the district $4 million a year. Is that, can I get the acceptance of the board to allow me to visit Howell and Howell and Deaver in the morning hours and in the afternoon hours? Just to get head counts coming off the bus, not to enter the school, just to get head counts off the bus.
So under the policy, the board would have to do that by resolution. Just for clarification, going into the buildings, but
No, on the sidewalks. On the sidewalks in front of Howell and on the sidewalks in front of Deaver. That are on the campus.
On the campus.
Yeah, they're on the campus, but it's actually where the buses let the children off and on. Parents go there to pick up their kids, and if it's open to the parents, I would imagine there really shouldn't be a problem, but I thought, let me bring it to the board's attention that I would like to get the actual physical counts.
So that would be under policy 2111.1, would be a motion for the Board of Education to authorize an individual board member, Trustee Benelli, to visit Howell and Deaver schools for the purpose of gathering information with regard to transportation outside of the buildings.
Oh, wait,
He's saying it has to be
so
done
we
by
can
resolution.
so we can take that action tonight, or? Yeah, that'd be fine.
We have a couple questions, just
Sure.
I'm just wondering, does it need a resolution if he's outside of the school?
If he's outside of the schools, as in on the sidewalks outside of the schools where anyone can go, he does not. But if he's going to stay on the, you don't generally allow people to, I don't want to say loiter, but hang out in front of the schools during the school day. So just like any other individual, he would need permission from the board to stand there for that period of time for that purpose of gathering information.
Trustee Farrell?
So I'm a little confused as to why you would have to count the kids if the seats on the bus are based on where a child lives, and if they're entitled to transportation, then those seats are required by law. So unless you're looking to increase the mileage so that it's available for less kids, what does it matter who's actually using the bus?
So months ago, I submitted to the board, and then subsequent to that, Superintendent LaRocca provided data on actual people on the bus, students on the bus, and my preliminary numbers show that we are actually paying for bus capacity that is in excess of over 50%. In other words, the buses that seat 70 students, my numbers show that we haven't had more than 22 children on those buses at Wheeler, and LaRocca's numbers show that we haven't had more than 30 at one of those buses that sit 72 to 90 children on those buses. So right there, instead of just basing a whole big proposal on just those two schools, where we have 4, I'd like to get more data in the actual numbers, for all 4 schools to find out how over capacity are we paying? Because right now, it looks like we're paying a lot more money than we really should be.
But what you're stating is those are the children that chose to ride the buses those days. That has nothing to do with what we have to provide in the way of transportation. If, according to the children that live in the area and are entitled to the mileage, because they're entitled to the bus because of the mileage, there are 70 students entitled, and that's why we have a bus that size. Again, if 22 kids choose to ride it, we all know that that's what happens. So unless you're going to take the mileage and move it to the state limit of nobody gets transportation up after 2 miles.
I understand your question, it's pretty clever. There are a lot of issues surrounding busing, like where would you park buses if the district decides to purchase its own fleet. But specifically to the issue that you're raising, I don't know. We need to find out the information. The eligibility is in something like over 800 students are eligible to take the bus. But my numbers show that only about, 300 to 400, well, I don't want to be specific, far less are actually riding those buses. In fact, we have an overcapacity of at least 50% on these buses. And this also takes into account the additional 10% we have to provide for the walkbacks. So I'm taking all those numbers into account. But you need a hard data to start to do the analysis. And all I'm asking the board is if they have the will to allow me to simply go to Deaver and go to Howell, which are school campuses, as opposed to Willow and Wheeler, where I already have the hard numbers, to allow me to just do the head count. What can hurt? And maybe perhaps we don't need to provide busing up to half a mile. Keep in mind that District 24 and 30 do not provide public in-district busing. They do not. They do provide parochial, but not the public buses. They do not provide it. It's on their website.
So, in essence, then you're looking to possibly change the transportation policy.
I didn't say that.
You don't.
I said
I
I'm looking.
don't know how many times
I know what I said. I was the one who said it. I said I'm looking to address the $4 million in transportation costs.
Okay. I guess I'm not coming first.
No.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Are you proposing to make the mileage less so we could save money and not provide more transportation to students?
I didn't make any such proposal.
If you are saying you want to save money on transportation, and we know that this district has expanded their transportation so that we could provide more services to students, when you say that you want to save money on transportation, are you saying you want to reduce the numbers of mileage that we could provide for the students?
So that's pretty interesting. You basically use different words from what Patty Farrell
No,
asked.
I'm clear. I am clear,
Okay, let me be
Trustee
perfectly
Bonelli.
clear.
I'm
Let me
asking
be
you a
perfectly clear.
question
Okay.
because you're not clear.
Okay, let
So
me
I
be-
need to know where you're clear.
Okay.
What are you stating?
Okay,
Do you
let me-
want to reduce the mileage so that we provide less transportation to students so we could save more money?
Okay, so let me be clear. So let me answer the question. As I said all along tonight, I'm looking to see if we can save money. You want me to pin me down to saying, oh, well, you don't want to provide transportation for certain mileage. I never mentioned mileage, not once. The public could get the videotape and see that I never mentioned. But I will be more specific than that. Are you aware that the half buses, the shuttle buses, their seating capacity is 35? So if we have Wheeler, where there are only 22 children at max, they can actually be serviced with the shuttle bus, not the 70-seater bus. And you can save money right there.
Vice President Cavalier.
Okay, Trustee Benelli, the only way to save money on the transportation is to reduce the amount of kids eligible for the bus. You cannot go by the head count that actually use the bus because we need to provide the amount of seats for the students that are eligible for the bus. So the only way to reduce that number is to reduce the mileage so less kids are eligible for transportation. Otherwise, even though you only see 20 students on the bus,
75 of them are eligible. If I own one of those seats, you are not taking it away, Mr. Benelli. When I feel like my children need to go on the bus, that's the day I will ask my child to take the bus. So the only way you would like to say, buddy, and if that's what they're trying to tell you, is we need to reduce the mileage so less people are eligible for the seat. You counting how many kids are physically on the bus does nothing to do with it.
Sure it does.
Okay, so we obviously don't understand.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If we are actually giving money to private contractors that control the pricing, basically, it's a consortium of like 24 school districts we're part of. If they give us a bus that's a 72-seater or 90-seater, which they do, as opposed to a 35-seater.
But we can't get a 35-seat bus because we need 70 students are eligible, the same numbers, because I don't know the exact numbers. You're looking at physical children that use the bus.
Yes.
We can't go by that number. So we could go buy buses, we could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for the bus, and you're gonna see our own buses drive around the village with the same amount of kids.
No, you didn't.
We cannot buy a smaller bus because there are enough students that will require a larger bus.
No, you didn't allow me to finish the
No,
answer.
we're done. So I apologize. I am a no for Mr. Benelli counting children at the school.
Okay. Go ahead, finish.
Oh, no, I was going to say that we can actually have our contractors use the shuttle buses. We'll pay for services for the smaller buses. It doesn't say anywhere in the law or the contract that we have to use the 72-seater buses. I would like to ask the parents and the residents, have they ever seen these buses, the 72-seater, the 90-seater, flying through our school districts?
I agree with you. I'm not saying, so Mr. Benelli, let's say this. I agree with you. Those buses are empty. Those buses are empty. I am not disagreeing with you that those buses aren't fully utilized to the capacity. There's no disagreements there. There is not. Everybody on this board probably agrees with you that the buses aren't fully utilized visually.
And that's why we use the walkway.
Visually, that's why, exactly, that's why the walk-right pass is there. However, again, we can't go by visual because one day I'm going to ask all the parents who have the capability to please send your kids to school on the bus, and we're not going to be able to provide them with that service. The only way to do that, Mr. Benelli, and if you want, I will entertain it, we'll see how it feels, we'll reduce the mileage and reduce the amount of people that are eligible for the school bus. It's the only way to do it. If you'd like to do that, I would be more than willing to entertain that motion. To have that
We
conversation.
have those numbers already.
Excuse me?
We already have the eligibility numbers.
We do, and that's why we have the size school buses that we do. So when you ask that we have eligibility, we have it, then you ask for usage, you got the eligibility, then the usage, drastic difference.
Plus,
We can't even have people sign waivers saying, oh, you waive your right to a seat. That can't happen on our end, okay? So, if you like to entertain, reducing the radius, the mileage, to reduce the cost of the school bus, bring that up, I'll more than willing to talk about that. But having you at the school counting physical, I know that does nothing for for us to move forward.
Okay.
Madam
So on
President,
the
in
floor-
addition to that, Trustee Cavallari forgot to mention that we also need to leave space just in case additional students come into the district
Mr.
and they
Benelli,
qualify.
yeah, Mr. Benelli, there is that percent, he already mentioned the percentage that comes in. Those are the other percentages that we don't see.
So on the floor
But
is
Mr.
the
Benelli,
proposal to have trustee Benelli count students at Howell and Villa? Diva. Trustee Farrell? No. Trustee Vicente?
No.
Vice President Cavallari?
No.
Trustee Benelli?
Yes, of course, definitely. To save money so we can get more teachers, absolutely, I'm for
It's
that.
not saving money.
Trustee
Stop
Grosso?
propagating.
No.
Okay. I'm a yes. I mean, if he wants to wait, if you want to waste your time, count kids, let him go. I've been overruled.
I thank you, President.
It was a waste of time. Any other old business? Oh, thank you, Trustee Luzio.
So I think it was a couple of meetings ago, I brought up the idea of surveying after trainings that we approve the funding for, not mandatory trainings that we provide the funding for. So I just wanted to bring it up one more time and possibly get the will of the board. I believe that, I know Dr. LaRocca will do it, she's willing to do it. I think it's our job as a school board to create policy for the future, not just right now. So I'm looking for the will of the board to create a policy that would require the superintendent to survey teachers on non-mandatory training that we approve the funding for, so that we could review those surveys and analyze the training for improvement.
Okay, so that's something we want to send to the policy committee?
So I believe I thought we sent this to the policy committee last time we spoke.
No, we didn't, we held off.
I'm sorry, we were sending it to the education committee to talk about that, and then whatever.
Now,
they came out with the
understandably,
policy.
we have not been having committee meetings because of
Yeah.
what's been going on.
Right, so I believe it was supposed to go to education first, we were gonna discuss,
We have
and
it
then
on
bring it to the
tap for
policy,
ed
go back to the
committee.
policy committee.
But we have to
So-
be able to review next week's
Yeah,
meetings.
but there's been a little,
Okay.
Thank you. Any other new business?
New business or old? New or old? New business or old business?
Which do you have?
you said,
new.
Okay, any other old business? Okay, new business.
Okay, new business. In light of what we discussed today, I would like to also try to get the will of the board to bring to the policy committee a policy that would create guidelines on hiring administrators.
so that would go, we could bring that up.
Can you say that again, trustee?
I would like to bring to the policy committee a policy that would put in place guidelines for hiring administrators.
Guess what? Since you're on the policy committee.
Wait, hold on, I wanted to go to the business committee first, and then,
True.
oh.
So I've shared with the board, and I could share it again, the procedures that we have in the district, which certainly include, you've seen the manual that we use for hiring, which includes all of those things. So certainly if the board wants to make it policy, we can make it policy, but those things are already in place. And certainly the superintendent can work with the board on what they would like to direct me to do. So that's just my input on that, is that if you'd like me to send that around, I'm happy to send that around again.
Would you like more information before we talk about putting it into policy?
In my opinion, I believe we're supposed to create policy, and not just for now, again, going forward for the future, to set the guidelines and the framework of the district. I would like to try to get the will of the board.
So let's see what they say. You got something to say?
I have a question more than this thing. So should it go, to gain that policy, should it go to the business committee, get the foundation of what we have, build it better, and then bring it from business committee to the policy committee?
Whatever the proper framework.
Only because,
Well, it's my understanding that you have to be very careful with policy that you create.
yeah.
So if it's, I don't know, I think we need a consensus on this one, whether we want to explore it more or not.
It was
I
a
don't get a
question.
lot to say, because I have to do this, so. Trustee Farrell.
So can I ask Judy to send the document home that she wants to send us, that we can review it and use portions of that to make the policy, if that's what, you brought it up, so if you review it, maybe you could pick and choose some things you want to add, could be deleted. Okay. If we have guidelines already, let's not reinvent the wheel, let's just make them better, as you suggested.
So let's have Judith give us more information, and then I will make sure it's on the agenda again for committee next month. Okay? Good? All right. Any other new business? All right, hold on, I'm gonna make my...
I make a motion to go into
No, I
this.
have
No, wait.
visitors. I have visitors. I just gotta make
Oh, I'm sorry.
a note, because I wanna make sure this gets
Oh, yes.
on the agenda. Sorry, I gotta write everything down these days. Okay, I have 2 visitors this evening for the second comment period. I'd like to remind everybody you have 3 minutes. I'd like to welcome Oceania Diodato Khan to the microphone. Hope I didn't pronounce that terribly.
It's okay. It's Oceana, but I have a handout first.
Oh.
To give it to
Okay, so
I didn't get a copy.
I give him the stuff. Okay, Oceana Diodato Khan. You guys
You
have
lost
this.
15 seconds.
The handout.
Reset the clock, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I'm a lifelong Valley Streamer and product of School District 13, Wheeler Avenue. I work and live in Valley Stream and have many ties to this community. I'm here tonight out of genuine concern over the constant threats of harm and cyberbullying that my family and I have to endure from one of your school board members. Yes, that is correct. Threats of harm and cyberbullying. Mr. Benelli has threatened to stamp me out. My husband and I, that's it. I'm truly anxious about the fact that these statements may escalate into something more in the future. When I was a student at Wheeler Avenue, we were taught not to tolerate or take part into bullying. Bullying and harassment have no place in society, as this is something that you learn in elementary school. Our school board members must lead by example. I would never have imagined that many years after I graduated, my family and I would be bullied by an elected school board member. I hope that this board can make a collective effort to prevent this type of harassment from happening to other families in this community. Those are my screenshots. Hi, Mr. Benelli, how are you? You say I hide on the 2nd floor of the courthouse. I'm here in front of you.
Hi.
Thank you.
Remember that feeling when you got my
Thank you, Ms.
second
Cohen.
I have a question for the visitor. If I may. Chris, the attorney, I have the right to ask a question of any visitor that gives a statement. Excuse me?
You do have that right.
Okay, I'd like to ask the visitor a question.
Sure.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good. You asked me a question.
You and your husband are village employees for Valley Stream, is that correct?
Do you have 3 minutes on the clock?
Do you have something, I'm sorry?
Do you have 3 minutes on the clock too, or just me?
I'm just asking you a question, right? Do you work for the village of Valley Stream, you and your husband?
I choose not to answer that
What does this
question.
have to do with it? Let her make her comment and sit down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second commenter, Matthew Kahn, please come to the microphone. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Board of Education. Thank you, Madam President. I just hold it like that. So the reason I'm here tonight is, my name is Matt Kahn. I am a full-time village employee. I'm an adjunct professor at Nassau Community College. Currently, right now, I am the president of the Board of Directors at a drug and alcohol treatment center. I donate my time to the community. I teach art to senior citizens. We do a lot of volunteer work. The previous speaker is actually my wife. And also, I forgot.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Trustee Vicente. Now, I forgot one important part. I was a school board member in District 30 a few years ago. I served, I took my job very seriously, and I completed my board training. And I do have my certificate here that I got when I completed my training. I'm not giving you an award tonight, Mr. Benelli, and so a lot of you were nervous when I walked up there. But we look here, and on the certificate itself, like I said, I took the job very seriously. It says rights, responsibilities, policy, board operation, accountability. Sir, none of which you have any concept of. None. And you also go around threatening me and threatening my family. I have the quote there. I will stamp you and your husband out. Let me read the definition of stamping. Stamping says to destroy something. So you are pledging to do myself and my family harm. Now, as a fellow former trustee, you guys are all currently sitting trustees, I would be very alarmed at that. Because my time over at 30, one thing I learned that when you are a school board member, when you are an elected official, your conduct on and off the dais is representative of your organization. And your conduct is unacceptable. Now, I sit here for days and hours, it's been going on a while, and I haven't said anything. And I'm thinking to myself, what could I have done to you to have you do this to my family and I? And I only could come up with one thing. I think you're doing it to me because I'm Muslim. And you have a problem with Muslim people. Look at all of the great things I do for our community, for Valley Stream. For the past 20 years of my life, I've done a lot for our village, our community, our school district, yet you have a problem with me. Do you have anything to say for yourself? No, of course you don't. I don't want to hear it. Thank you, Madam President.
I'd like to ask a question of the visitor, as it is my right.
You may.
Okay, Mr. Matthew Khan.
I'm not going to answer your question.
Don't reset him. He doesn't have anyone.
I'm not asking a
Thank you,
question.
Mr.
I'm making a statement towards the attendant. What you're pointing to, it simply says, I simply state, I volunteer my time for the past 15 years to the Valley Stream. I say the word stamp out bullyism. I'm not promoting bullyism. I'm stamping out bullyism. And isn't it true that you worked on the campaign for Ed Fair and got arrested for a felony of campaign violations, and you pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor associated with that charge? Is that not true? And you hid that to the public while you served as a district trustee, that you changed your name to hide your criminal records. Is that not true?
Keep going with the allegations, Mr. Bonelli. It's all on camera. Keep going with it.
I'm asking you, is it true?
Keep going with
I'm
it.
asking you, is it true?
If you say
All
so,
right,
it
we're
must
not
be
going to
true.
have
Keep going
interrupt.
with it.
Please, Mr. Khan, please.
Sorry about that,
Okay.
Madam President.
No, it's fine. Thank you. Trustee Vicente.
I have a personal statement to say, and this is a personal statement, and I'm not speaking on behalf of this board. I am very disheartened to hear what's happening here today. As a board member who's been here for 9 years, this is very upsetting to hear one of our trustees making these comments, not only by social media, but also in public. This is not the way we should be behaving. Not with our public. We don't have to agree, but we should not be doing this. And that is my personal opinion, and I want that everyone to know I am not in favor of this.
Thank you, Trustee Vicente. That's it for the visitors this evening. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please? We're going back into executive, by the way.
I make a motion to go back into executive session for personnel and listed negotiations with the lawyer, superintendent, assistant superintendent. The second.
Moved and seconded on the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're going back in exec. Thanks for everyone.